All right, let's go ahead and I'll tell you what, I'm going to keep the coonskin cap on because today was a great day for Mountaineer fans on the football side. West Virginia lands the top running back in the not necessarily the top rated running back in the portal per se, but the top running back as far as yards statistically in the country in Cam Cook. Elite running back from Jacksonville State, Cam Cook. From the article over at WV Sports Chat over at our site. By the way, we've been doing a ton of work over there. Go check it out. It says West Virginia has landed a commitment from the NCAA's leading rusher and an All-American running back from the 2025 campaign, Cam Cook. The 5'11", 200-pound junior played for Jacksonville State last season. The news broke Tuesday evening via a post from veteran WVU beat writer Mike Couz on X, who cited reliable sources indicating the Mountaineers are expecting to secure a commitment from the elusive star back. And, of course, they later did confirm through Hayes Fawcett of On 3. The running back position has been a point of concern following the departures of key contributors, Jahiem White, Diore, Hubbard, and Sincere Bowers to the portal. Filling that void with the nation's top rusher would signal WVU's intent to rebound quickly in the competitive Big 12. Cook led the FBS in rushing in 2025, 1,659 yards on 295 carries, an average of 5.6 yards per tote, and 16 rushing touchdowns. He also added 286 yards on 30 receptions, 9.5 yards per catch, and was named Conference USA Player of the Year. He was a third-team All-American by the AP. Associated Press named him a third-team All-American. Leading rusher in the country. This young man can flat out run. Now, he did spend time at TCU, and I have seen some of the more, I'll say, pessimistic fans on social media saying, well, yeah, but he didn't do very good at a Power 4 school. But you got to realize he was a younger back at the time, and maybe he wasn't a huge fit for the system. You know, we don't know all the details there. But he went to Jacksonville State, and he blossomed. And what I like about Cam Cook, if you've any of you who have watched his film, watched his tape, will know this, or even watch his games this year. Got Browns and Beers in the house. What's up, brother? Keep the hat cap on, Couz. Thank you for the $2 donation. Yeah, man, I plan on it. If it don't itch my head too bad. This thing does itch pretty bad, and, you know, with the bald chrome dome I have, nothing in between there to stop it. But I do appreciate the super chat for sure. But Cam Cook, when you watch him play, here's what sticks out to me. Obviously, he's got good – he don't have elite speed, but he has good speed, good enough speed. At 5'11", 200 pounds, he's not super small, right? He's got decent size. He's hard to bring down. And he is stronger than he looks. He doesn't look like it. He's not necessarily a huge, big, quote-unquote, big back, but he can break tackles. He can run through tackles. He averaged 3.45 yards per carry after contact. So he was, I think, top 50 in the country in yards after contact with players with at least, I think it was at least 60 carries, maybe something like that. So he did have, or no, it wasn't 60. Anyway, you get my point. He did really good. He was in the top third of the country or so in yards after contact. So he did really good in that category. So he's elusive. Yes, he can make people miss in space, but he's also hard to bring down. He can break tackles. He has really good vision. He's great at reading his blocks, getting behind his blocks, getting behind his pads. He can make one step and boom, he hits the hole quick. I really like this pickup for the Mountaineers. We also have to remember, I know he wasn't the running backs coach at Jacksonville State, but Rick Trickett was the O-line coach last year at Jack State. So he had his lineman blocking for Cam Cook. I do think there's some advantages there. He's going to understand the blocking scheme. He's going to understand where the linemen are, where they're going to be, what their responsibilities are, and he's going to speak that language, at least the language that Coach Trickett speaks to his linemen, which, you need your running back and your lineman to all be on the same page, right? And I think that's an advantage. We can't forget that. I know he wasn't the running backs coach, but still, they're going to speak the same language. Let's not forget that. So this is a huge, huge pickup for the Mountaineers in the portal. Cam Cook, number one running back in the country. I don't think it can be. I mean, Jonathan mentioned an article, losing Jahiem White, losing Diore Hubbard, losing Sincere Bowers. We're like, man, who's going to carry the football? Cam Cook, that's who's going to carry the football. They also went out and, they signed Martavius Boswell, a talented JUCO player. They brought in Sir Paul Cheeks, brought in some really talented young guys from the high school ranks that can also help in that backfield. So I like this pickup. Oh, and we can't forget Amari Latimer, the 4-star kid who they flipped from Wisconsin. Can't forget him. I think he could with him. Now look, all these guys have to compete for the job. Cam Cook's not going to come in and be handed the number one running back spot. He has to earn it, and these other guys, I'm sure, are going to want to earn it too. But my expectation is that we'll see Cam Cook and heck, I think we'll see Cam Cook, Boswell, and Latimer get carries in this offense. Maybe see a fourth guy to see who ends up, getting most of the snaps. But I think Cam Cook and Latimer will probably be the two guys you see getting the most carries. Sir Paul Cheeks is coming off an injury. Not sure how long it'll take him to recover. So he might be behind the 8 ball a little bit compared to the rest of the guys. But I really like this talented running back room. They're young. Cam Cook, I think he has one more year left, maybe 2 of eligibility. So, you've got a veteran guy who's played college football now, 2 years at the Power 4 level, 3 years total at the FBS level. I just think it's a very, very good ad. I'm going to go ahead and pull up PFF grades here from Cam Cook because I had them pulled up earlier. As a matter of fact, I may still have them up. Let me look. That way I won't have to waste y'all's time. I do not have them up. So let me pull them up real quick. I think you're going to be impressed by his PFF grades. I like to look at stats, and neither stats nor PFF grades tell you the whole story, but they both tell a story, right? At least part of the story. Obviously, his statistics were out of this world. Almost 6 yards per carry, over 1,600 yards. His receiving yards, I think we mentioned his receiving as well. He graded out overall. His overall offensive grade was 85.8 on the season. His overall receiving grade was 59.1. That's not great, but it was, but he's proven he can catch the ball out of the backfield. So, don't let that scare you. His pass blocking grade. This is where I think he could be even a bigger pickup than what people realize. His pass blocking grade was a 76.2. Very, very good. It's very important that your running backs can pass block, and he can do it. I talked about how he's able to break tackles. He's a strong player. He's a strong young man. He can use that in a blocking game as well. His run grade, 89.3. No big surprise there. He runs the ball very, very well, very, very hard, and he's talented. And his run blocking grade is not great, but 59.8. You'd like to see that a little bit better, but he hasn't had to do that a ton. But nonetheless, just really, really good PFF grades. His time at TCU now in 2024, he carried the ball. Let me see. He carried the ball. I don't have his stats here. Let me pull his stats up from TCU. 2024 at TCU, he carried the ball 116 times for 454 yards, average 3.9 yards per carry, 9 touchdowns. His snaps kind of fell off towards the end of the year, or at least his production did, rather. He had several. Look, he had a game against Sam Houston where he rushed for 218 yards last year. This is in 2025 now. He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games where he rushed over 100 yards, had 1 200-plus yard game. So just really, really good player we're getting in Cam Cook. But in 2024 at TCU, I mentioned his stats. He graded out at a 69.9 in the run game, so still not terrible. 64.9 total offensive grade. So, and again, 60. I was looking for pass blocking. I don't see any grades there for pass blocking, but nonetheless, grades out well. He graded, even though his stats weren't necessarily as good at TCU, and I don't know the reason for that. I don't know the inside knowledge of what TCU was dealing with offensively in other areas, but he did have decent PFF grades. And then in 2023, he only played 17 snaps for TCU, so very, very little production in 2023. He did play in several games in 2023, so he didn't redshirt, but he just didn't get a ton of carries. So he is in his fourth year. So it appears that this is his last year of eligibility, based on the fact that he played 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games in 2023, played all the games in 24, and then all the games again in 2025. So what's that tell you? For the most part, he's been healthy, which is a good thing as well. He's durable. As they say in the NFL, the best ability is availability. That's what you've seen here with Cam Cook. So just can't say enough about how big this is for West Virginia to land him. Massive pickup for the Mountaineers. But we don't want to overshadow another player that West Virginia got today. Wide receiver, another position of need that got filled. DJ Epps. This one's not as, this one doesn't move the needle as much to the fans because he's not from, he didn't lead the country in anything, but he did finish top 10 in the country in the category, which I'll talk about in a second. But you still got a really good athlete. You've got Troy receiver DJ Epps, a junior with 2 years of eligibility. I think he has 2 years. Might just be one. I can't keep track of these eligibilities anymore. It's really hard with these new rules and everything. Anyway, he's 6'1", 185 pounds, 47 catches, 512 yards, 5 touchdowns last year for Troy. But here's what I like. Here's what I like even, or just as much, I shouldn't say more, but just as much about DJ Epps. He's also filling a need in the return game because let's remember, Preston Fox graduated. Rodney Gallagher hit the portal. You're bringing in DJ Epps, who has experience returning kickoffs. Now, I'm not sure he hasn't returned a ton of punts in his career, but he has returned a lot of kickoffs. And in last year, he returned 24 kickoffs for over 550 yards. And he was, as far as average yards per return, he was 6th in the country in that category. So top 10 in the country in yards per return on kickoffs. So he's not only helping you fill a needed receiver where, again, you've lost a ton of guys like Cam Vaughn, Jeff Weimer to graduation, Rodney Gallagher to the portal, Preston Fox to graduation. You've lost a ton of guys from that spot. He's going to come in and help you fill a need, has an opportunity, in my opinion, to play right away. You add him to the JUCO guys like Keon Hutchins, Kedrick Triplett, to the transfer Prince. I want to get his name right. Prince. Let's just call him Prince. The former Boise State and USC player. You got him. He's 6'5", gives you a red zone target. They're getting different types of bodies to fill different needs, and you're also getting a guy in DJ Epps who can either play the slot or play out wide. So, again, versatility, talent, speed, athleticism. This is almost everybody Rich Rod brings in is bigger, faster than the guys they had a year ago. And let's face it, so far out of the 8 transfers they've hauled in so far, I think, if my count's accurate, 6 of them at least have experience at the Power 4 level. They may not be coming directly from a Power 4 school in all cases, but but 2 of them so far have at least played at the Power 4 level. Now let's address the biggest thing, and that is the offensive line. I understand that the offensive line is an issue, but they're trying to fix it. There are some secret visitors, to my understanding, that have either been on campus or are coming to campus that I think West Virginia may have a really good chance of getting. Heck, by the time you see this, they might have already committed. But there are some good offensive linemen that they're looking at. We've heard about the kid from Wyoming who they're trying to get on campus. May have already been there. I don't know. The kid hasn't allowed hasn't allowed a sack in like 3 seasons at Wyoming. So, they are looking at very, very good offensive linemen. I have no doubt they're going to fill needs. And offensive line recruiting is a little different than these skill guys. When you're looking at interior linemen, they normally don't requires much money, so they're not necessarily chasing a bag in a lot of cases. They're looking more for a fit. They're looking more for who can develop them. They might be looking at the weight training, strength program, those types of things. Offensive linemen may be more so to look at those types of things outside of just chasing a bag in all cases. Now, your elite guys are going to get paid. Don't get me wrong. But it's just different. It's just different. And coach, too, makes a difference. And let's not forget Rick Rickett's coming back to Morgantown. That alone is going to make our offensive line better, in my opinion, because he's going to develop the guys better than the previous coach. I just think his track record speaks for itself. So Rick Trickett coming back, they do have some really good linemen that they're looking at. So I have no doubt they will land some talent there. Nick Cray, at least as far as I know, is going to be coming back. And the guys do still have up until the 16th of January to enter the portal. But as of right now, Nick Cray and Landon Livingston will both be back. Josh Isosa looks like he'll be back. They brought in Kevin Brown. So I do like the pieces they're adding. Now, a little bit of bad news. Ben Bogle, the linebacker, who we thought might have an opportunity to be a starter next year, the middle linebacker, just transferred into the program this year. He announced today he's entering the transfer portal. Don't understand why. I'm sure we won't ever know the true reason. Not sure if he's being nudged out. Not sure if he doesn't like – is West Virginia bringing in some really high-level talent at the linebacker spot and he doesn't think he'll get to play? We don't know. I do know that Zach Alley is following some really highly talented linebackers on social media. Not sure what that means. May not mean anything. But there are two former Big Ten linebackers in the transfer portal who put up great numbers that are being followed on social media by Zach Alley. So we'll see if they are in the running for West Virginia, in the running for those guys. But I do want to mention, when you look at most of the players, if not all the players that West Virginia bringing in, had other Power 4 schools after them. For example, Cam Cook. He was scheduled to go on a visit to Tennessee. I don't know if he ever went to that visit. It's my understanding he went ahead and canceled that visit based on what I read earlier. He canceled that visit, committed to West Virginia. The DJ Epps, he had visited Cincinnati. He chose West Virginia over the Bearcats. So West Virginia is winning recruiting battles in the portal over other Power 4 schools, some of them at their level, some of them considered blue bloods. It's good to see that. West Virginia is able to step – when they have a player that they really, really want, they can pay them. I'm sure Cam Cook's getting paid a really, really large amount of money, as he probably should in today's market, the way the market is. But now West Virginia may not be able to pay as many guys large sums of money, but when they really, really need a guy like a Kevin Brown or a Matt Sigg or a, Cam Cook, probably a Michael Hawkins, they're going to step up and pay them. So I won't be shocked if we see some other big names committing to West Virginia here in the next little bit, next few days. Don't be surprised if you see some surprises. Prince Strawn, his last name's Strawn. He was a surprise. He was not even – I did not see him on any visitation list or anything. He was kind of out of the blue. Nobody saw that one coming. There may be some more of those in the next few days. As far as the running back room, will West Virginia take more running backs? I wouldn't be surprised if they take at least one more because you need a lot of bodies in that room. They did, they were looking at Evan Pryor, or at least we're trying to reach out to Evan Pryor. They were looking at, some other really good running backs. I doubt they'll bring in anybody with the pedigree of a Cam Cook, but they might still go out and try to get some guys maybe from lower levels who can come in and be part of the room and contribute, right, and help with depth. So we'll see. They have a lot of positions they need to fill. They still need more O linemen. They still need D linemen. Basically, every position on the defense still needs bodies. They probably need another tight end or two, and maybe even another wide receiver. So we'll see what they do, how many more running backs they bring in. It's looking more and more like West Virginia's going to have another rebuild year. With the 49 players they signed on signing day, so far they've added 8 transfers, but they've lost over 30, if not 40. So they're probably going to have to add about 20 more ballpark. So it'll be interesting in the coming days who comes to Morgantown. But so far, I think they've done a good job bringing in guys that fit needs and who are good football players, whether it be from lower levels or even other P4 schools. Let's go ahead and jump back into the chat room. I see WVU fan 13 says, I got you, Matt. But there are 11 on offense and 11 on defense, 2 players from Penn State. Doesn't mean we are killing it. That's fair. That's fair. Amari Latimer is also the best running back West Virginia has got recruiting in a very, very long time. He was recruited by 41 other schools. That's what I say. West Virginia's picking their spots. They're finding these elite guys at positions of need, and okay, we can get this guy, so let's go get him. But they can't do that at every position, right? They're having to do it at key spots. And at other spots, they're just going to have to develop guys, right? Or they might have weaknesses they have to coach around. I mean, that's just part of the game, man. West Virginia might have more money than they did a year ago, but they still don't have Texas Tech money. They likely still don't have BYU money. They don't have Ohio State money, Texas money. That they're not going to have that money. But if they can just compete, which it looks like they're trying to do, I think they'll be okay. Bringing in Rick Trickett is going to be a big deal. And look, I've said it multiple times. We've got to be careful where we set our expectations. When you have 49 brand new players coming in from the JUCO and high school ranks on a 105-man or thereabouts roster, that's, what's that, 40%, 45% of your roster ballpark is going to be made up of brand new guys who have not even played at the P4 level before, or at the FBS level for that matter. Then you have all these new transfers that are going to be coming in as well. You're probably going to have 60, 70, might even get to 80 again. We might see 80 new players again, y'all. Don't be shocked if you see 80 new players in Morgantown for a second year in a row. I don't think it'll get that high, but I think we'll hit 70. I think we'll at least hit 70. I mean, sit and do the math. Do the math. You had about 40 transfer out and about 40 graduate. Is that not 80? Now, you won't be bringing in quite as many because the roster's shrinking. So that's why I'm saying you might still see 70, 75 guys that are brand new. It's hard to win in college football when you have that many new players that are brand new to your system, to your team, and about half of them to that level of football. It's going to take time. So don't expect West Virginia to go out and compete for a Big 12 championship in year 2 of the Rich Rod 2.0 era. It's likely not going to happen. Not saying it's impossible, but it's not likely. It's just not everybody's Kurt Cignetti. And let's face it, Indiana has a ton of money too. Don't kid yourself. Indiana has the largest alumni base in the country and a lot of wealthy donors. They have money. They're paying Kirk Cignetti about $11 million a year. So they have money. Now, he's not bringing in a ton of highly rated guys, but he's just picking the right guys. And that's what's going to be key for West Virginia. Can they get the right guys? But again, back to my rant. Do not expect them to set the world on fire with 70 new players. It's just not realistic. If we can get a 6-7 win year in year 2, keep most of the guys that they are getting this year, keep the majority of them in the fold, and build the program that way, then in 2027, I think they can compete for a Big 12 championship. That's how confident I am in some of the guys they're bringing in. But it's going to take them a year to get there. And he's not bringing in a ton of seniors either. Most of the players he's bringing in have at least 2 years of eligibility. Most of them have 3 or 4. So Rich Rod's building this thing. This is a long-term play for Coach Rodriguez. Yes, he wants to win now. Every coach wants to win now. But he's looking at the long-term of this thing. This is not a win overnight deal. This is a win. He's building a program, not a team. And we have to realize that, y'all. I know it sucks, and we might go through another year of challenges, but and might not meet expectations again. And when I say expectations that we have as Mountaineer fans in general, it might not be an 8-9 win year. It might be a 6 or 7 win year. But be patient. He's building it. Now, if we see this many guys leaving the program again, I'll be worried. And I'll be honest with you. We have lost more guys than I thought we would. I didn't see Hammond Russell leaving. I didn't see Asani Redwood leaving. I didn't see Ben Bogle leaving. And I know these guys are not All-American players. I get that. But it's continuity. It's chemistry. It's guys who know how to speak the coach's language. It's guys who can be leaders out there and show the other guys what to do. It's about more than just talent. And don't be surprised if we lose more guys. I'll just be honest with you. There's going to probably be some more guys enter the transfer portal. Probably some guys we didn't expect. And it's going to suck when it happens. And is it something I think deserves some criticism? But yeah, I think it's fair to criticize that. When you lose guys that you needed to count on to be leaders, and because I don't think all these guys were nudged out. I think some of them were, but not most of these guys that are entering now. This is just me reading the tea leaves and making an assumption and speculating. But I don't think these guys that are leaving now are being nudged out. I think they're choosing to leave. Now, early in the process, the guys who left really, really early, the first ones to announce, most of those guys I think were nudged out. But I just don't – maybe I'm completely wrong, but I don't think Asani Redwood and Ben Bogle and Hammond Russell were nudged out. Now, again, I could be totally wrong, but and if I am, and look, I will trade if they bring in some studs, some 4- and 5-star caliber guys to replace these guys, then it's absolutely worth it in my opinion. But if they don't, we'll have to wait and see. All right, let me just get back to the chat here. We have looks like you all are very active. I appreciate it. Lifted Diesel says, when do you think West Virginia puts a WVU tax on paychecks to help WVU football compete? LOL. I actually think I saw this at Hawaii. Yeah, I probably won't see that. It wouldn't surprise me. There are some things. I actually may have a show to do on this later. But there are some things that the West Virginia legislature are looking at that will help WVU that I actually found today I was actually doing research for my day job, some stuff for my day job, and ran across it. So, but I hope to do a show on it. But I don't think it'll come to that necessarily. It's a Diesel also says, is it really year 2 or year 1 technically since we missed the first portal window? I don't know, man. There are other coaches who got hired about the same time Rich Rodriguez did, and they had at least as good, if not better, seasons than him, right? So I don't necessarily totally buy into the year 0 thing, but I also don't believe in firing a coach after 1 year either, if that makes sense. Again, what Cignetti did is an anomaly, not going to happen typically. But, I mean, Scott Frost was 1 game away from being bowl eligible at UCF. And you saw what they did to West Virginia. They got hired about the same time, or at least a few days apart. So why did UCF have the upper hand on West Virginia? That's a fair question to ask. Or did they? And there are other, obviously we see what's going on UNC. They're in a similar situation as West Virginia. But when you see the number of players, it is a little concerning to me when I see the number of players that are leaving the program are near the top of the country, and most of the other schools around West Virginia are schools who are replacing their coach, like Iowa State, Oklahoma State, and people like that. West Virginia's at or above some of those schools as far as the number of players are losing, and I just don't know that is a good thing. I don't think it. I know what people say. Well, Couz, it was a 4-8 team. Yeah, but look at Jahiem White, Cam Vaughn, Hammond Russell. One or two that I think may enter the portal later that I can't really say right now because it's not my place to do so. You're going. I'm telling you, you're going to. Even Israel Boyce. Now Israel Boyce and Asani Redwood both ended up at USF. By the way, I don't know how many of you knew that, but I think those guys could have been at least could have helped be leaders in their respective position rooms. But again, maybe they were nudged out or just knew they wouldn't get much playing time. I don't know. But I think it's fair to be concerned about the number of players West Virginia's losing. WV Fan 13 says, so this is my discussion question. Do we stay in the Big 12 and be middle of the pack team or go elsewhere? Where else are you going to go is the problem, unless you go down to the group of 5 level. And it's going to, I think we're getting to a point where the group of 5 is going to end up getting left behind completely anyway. So where do we want to be? Now, there is an argument out there that West Virginia would have been better off had they not joined the Power Conference back when the Big East crumbled and they had went to the American, and West Virginia could have dominated that league potentially and actually be in a better spot today. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. But who knew in 2011 when all that went down that we were going to be where we are today in college sports? I doubt any of them did sitting around that table. I doubt they knew that we were going to have chaotic transfer, guys transferring, playing 5 schools in 5 years, transferring out after every season. Guys actually missing college football playoff games so they can transfer. I mean, that it's a mess. I don't think they saw that coming, you know. But it is a fair question to ask. Would West Virginia have been better off staying as a G5 program? I don't know. What did Raven say? I'm going to go back up here to what Raven said. Is Jaden Bray coming back? Yes, so far, Jaden Bray, and I forgot to even mention him earlier. Man, if that kid can stay healthy, young man, I should say, if that young man can stay healthy, he is so freaking good. We've seen flashes of what he can be. If he can stay healthy, he can be our wide receiver 1 next year and be a really, really good football player and huge contributor to the offense. So let's hope Jaden Bray can stay healthy. Curtis D316 says Malachi Hood pushed Bogle out. Maybe. And again, I'm not saying I don't think Ben Bogle is necessarily going to be an All-American, guys. It's just the fact of continuity, chemistry, all those things matter. More so than I think a lot of fans want to realize. But if you can bring a guy in who's a 4 or 5-star talent, maybe that's a little more important. I don't know. Browns and Beers says season's a season. He brought in a lot of guys and then got rid of them during the spring portal and is getting rid of a lot of them now. I get that you had to evaluate somewhat quick, but still, yeah. Again, it's getting to the point now, and I try really hard to be positive, and I even get on other people on social media for being overly negative. But I also try to be realistic. And there are other schools in the country in similar situations as West Virginia that aren't losing this many players. Let's just face it. Why is it happening? We have to ask that question. It's fair to ask it. And we probably will never find out the answer, to be perfectly honest with you, because they're not going to tell us. Because if it's something negative, they don't want that out there, right? It's either they've misevaluated guys or players don't like playing there. It's one of those two things. It's either they've misevaluated some guys or the guys or players don't like playing at West Virginia. Now, you're always going to have some people leave, but, I mean, even going back to really ever since NIL and not NIL, but ever since the transfer portal became a thing, West Virginia's been losing more players probably at a higher rate than any other Power 4 team in the country. Just consistently. Matter of fact, that might actually be a good show topic for me. I may go back and research that. It's hard to find that information sometimes. I don't know how many of you folks look and try to track transfers over time. It is really, really difficult to do. And you can't really find a site that has put it all together in a spreadsheet or anything for you. So it's a really, really hard research to do, and it takes a ton of time. Stanley Metz says, I'm not concerned about the high number of players leaving yet. If it continues after next season, then yes, I'll be concerned. And that's kind of where I'm at, Stanley. Right now, I'm moderately concerned, but I'll be highly concerned if it happens again with these guys we're bringing in now, that, especially the real talented ones who are underclassmen. That's who we got to keep, because that means in 1, 2, 3 years, if you can keep most of your players that come in this year who are underclassmen, in the next 2 to 3 years, you could be one of the best teams in the Big 12, because they will all have developed under that coaching staff in that system. I've built chemistry. I've built a culture. Everything will be moving in the right direction. That's what we have to hope for. Yep, we got to hope so, Raven. Right now, there's about 5,000 players or 4,000 players or something like that I heard in the portal. It's insane. You know, a guy like Ben Bogle, where's he going to go? Is he going to go down to a lower-level school? I mean, I don't think Ben Bogle's chasing a bag. No disrespect to him, but I don't think he's good enough to chase a bag. You know? But anyway. All right. Well, listen, I'm going to jump off of here. It's getting late. It's almost 10 o'clock on the East Coast. Thank you all for jumping in this post-game live show where we talked about West Virginia's win, 62-60 win over Cincinnati in college hoops. Yes, it was an ugly win, but it was a win in Big 12 conference play, and we'll take it. And then we've talked a little bit about West Virginia's transfer portal additions, Cam Cook and DJ Epps, and then talked about, the ins and outs of the transfer portal. So anyway, thank you all for jumping in. I appreciate it. Sorry I wasn't able to get to every comment, but there's just too many of them for me to get to all of them and still get through my monologue and what I want to talk about. So anyway, thank you all for joining. Be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, do all those things. Check us out at wvsportschat.com. If you're on Facebook, please go to our Facebook page and follow us there as well. We're trying to build up all these sites. My partner Jonathan helping me out over at the site and over at the Facebook page, and even here some, as you all know, may not be a Golden Blue Breakdown show this week. Not sure yet, but hopefully we'll get back to doing that very soon. Appreciate everybody tuning into the show. God bless you. Q Country Roads.